guys, TC here. The first video in a series of 5 I think that I'm going to do for you. What I thought would be quite useful for people, and please feel free to tell me what you think, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick talk through on how I like to set up my heavy tanks. We're going to go through the crew skills that I look to put on them, the equipment, and my reasoning behind it. And obviously, you know, yours may change. I'm also going to variate as well, because we're going to also then dip into the autoloader side as well, and any variations that I may have. So first and foremost, your heavy tanks are they're a key part. There's pretty much more of them than any other tank type in the game, but you don't encounter them until tier 4, tier 5 rarely. The Japanese do have tiers 2 and 3 and 4 heavy tanks, but it's only really when you get to tier 4 and 5 that you really start to encounter these. As a standard, they normally have more hit points than any other tank type in the game. They also have more armor in most cases than most of the tanks in the game. These, to me, heavy tanks are supposed to be the ones that are there dishing and dealing. You're up there, you are going to be taking hits, but you've got the armor. You should be working the armor, angling. Hold down if you're in tanks that have very good turretal armor, like the T-34 that you see here in front of you. So to that end, what I look for is I look to make the tank as you need to buff as much as you can do with the equipment available. Things like your aim time, your reload time, your turret traverse, things like that. So my standard go-to setup for a non-auto loader heavy tank is the tank gun rammer. As you can see, that takes off 10% of your tank reload time. So for example, on the T-34 it's normally 13-14 seconds, but because of the rammer, we've knocked that down. The crew that's in this does also have BIA, so it's a little bit quicker again at 12.38 seconds. Your vertical stabilizer adds 20% accuracy during movement and turret rotation. So when the tank's moving, you're a little bit more accurate, but also when you're rotating the turret, you're more accurate. A lot of people do argue that gun lane drives are better, as that's more accurate. That gives you quicker aiming time, but I've got to be honest with you. There's no point having a quicker aim time if you're going to miss. You might as well have something that's accurate during movement and turret rotation. And because you're going to be up there dodging and dealing around with most of your heavy tanks, you do want something that will give you that quicker aim time. These equipment items are not cheap though. We then got vents, either class 3 for heavies, class 2 for mediums, and class 1 for lights, I believe. That may change depending on the tier of the tank. I'm not entirely certain, I have to be honest there. But again, that's 5% to all crew skills. So the crew you see before you in this one is actually my T29 crew. I do play the T34 and the T29 quite a lot off stream. They're my go-to fun tanks. I quite like them. So crew skills. Now we've gone to crew. Now we've done tank equipment. Let's go into crew skills. Heavy tanks for me. 6th sense on the commander. Being known when you're spotted is important. BIA adds that little bit of extra kick to your crew, another 10% on top of all the perks and skills and all that sort of stuff. So the driver will get the tank moving quicker, the gunner will aim quicker, the loader will load quicker. You'll have better view range, you'll have better signal range and things like that. All adds up to make a big difference to the tank. Repairs is the big one. The longer you're tracked out in the open, the quicker you die. And as you know, combining a full repair crew with a full BIA crew, with vents, with the large toolkit, means that you're very rarely tracked out in the open for a long time. 2, 3, 4 seconds at most, I think, is the longest reload, is the shortest you can get your repair crew down to, and it makes a huge difference. Difference between a dead tank and a live tank, basically. On this crew, also started putting firefighting on. It doesn't have a huge. I mean, you're going to get set on fire 20% of the time apparently, and with the American tanks particularly, shooting them in the rear will more than often produce an engine fire. So, yeah, firefighting is quite an important skill in my opinion. That's the basics of heavy tanks for me though. Is, you know, the minute I get them, if I go to one of the more recent crews that I've got, which is in my OI experimental, as you can see, 6 cents on the commander and repairs across everybody else. That's it. Get repairs, get that repair skill up, get it so you can't be tracked and stopped. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to autoloaders. So, autoloading tanks in heavies, you are looking mainly at your T57 heavy, the 5100 and the 5120, and the AMX 50B. So, how do I set up my autoloaders? Well, you'll notice on all of them I have a vertical stabilizer, I have vents, and I have coated optics. There is arguments for the likes of a gun lane drive, or for in some cases I know people who run binoculars. I prefer coated optics because it's the you know, as you know, heavy tanks, like I said, you're moving all around the place, and you're always going to be able to see that view range that you've got permanently. So, auto loaders, as you know, it's an automatic loading mechanism. You do have an intermission between each shell of about 2 seconds, depending on tank. That's for the 57 heavy here. So the vents and the V-stab mean that when you're on the move, you're a bit more accurate. You're going to hit your target more regularly. You're going to reload quicker. As you can see, the clip reload time here for the 57 heavy is 23.44 seconds for 4 shells, which gives you a 1600 damage burst output roughly. And it's, you know, it all helps to make these things more important, because with your auto loaders you're not going to be up front brawling, because you've got that reload time that you've got to manage. Means that once you are on reload, you are very vulnerable, even especially when you're down at the 5100 here at tier 8. As you can see, you've got a monstrous reload of nearly 47 seconds to manage. The 5100, there are 2 different ways I've seen of playing the 5100. My personal preference is to get my clip off, run, relocate, reload. You know, basically the 3 R's: run, reload, relocate, and then the fourth one, I know I said 3 R's, but 4 R's: re-engage. You need to manage the reload and think of the reload as a time frame for you to relocate yourself, to re-engage that opposition, and, you know, hopefully take them out. The 5100 has a 6-shot auto loader with an average of 300 damage per shell. So, you know, you do the maths yourself. You know, you can take out a tier 8 heavy tank in one single engagement, and its penetration value is quite high. For, you know, you're talking 232 pen, which I think, if I remember correctly, is the highest at tier 8 on the heavy tanks. I may be wrong there. You guys may be able to point me right or wrong there. But it's pretty, you know, it's a very potent vehicle. If you go back to 2014 in the WGL League, 5100s were prevalent with IS-3s and a couple of tier 7 scouts because of the clip damage. But the reload is the Achilles heel. You have to manage it. With the 50B, the reload is somewhat better at 27.5 seconds, and that is with a full female crew, so I do have Sisterhood of Steel and a few other tricks up the sleeves. But it's still a bit longer. But the gun, obviously, you know, you start comparing this with the 57 heavy, and the 57 heavy can get its clip off quicker and reload its clip quicker. That's why the 57 heavy feels broken. The 57 heavy's issue though is the fact that it takes very little ammo into battle with it, whereas your 50B has, by accounts, quite a lot of ammo. So, you know, you want to balance your loadouts as well. Some tanks you'll see I have quite weird setups. For example, KV5, I have a super heavy spall liner. KV5 is well known for being very heavily armoured. Even the R2D, now it's been HD remodeled, is very heavily armoured as well. So HE is often a shot fired at you. Super heavy sportliners, they negate that. They take that away from you. So you can do that, and because the KV4 is actually KV5 is quite quick and mobile for a heavy tank. Ramming is obviously an option, and by fitting a sportliner, you add that to ramming damage. 50% to armor protection from ramming and explosions also works the other way around. So that's giving you a flavour of what I think for the heavy tanks. If you think this video is going to be interesting, let me know, and I will carry on and do the medium tanks, the light tanks, the TDs, and the artillery. And hopefully it'll help you in your game as well, because at the end of the day, you've got to set you want to set your tank up to give you the best possible opportunity to win the game. These work for me, and I'm quite happy with them. It may change for yourself, but for me, I'm quite happy. I have a nice balanced crew setup, a nice balanced crew equipment setup on my tanks. Yes, the outlay is expensive. I mean, if we take for example the KV5 here, I've got 750,000 credits worth of super heavy sportliner. I've got 500,000 credits worth of a tank rammer, and 600,000 credits of improved ventilation class 3. I mean, that's necking up to nearly 2 million credits worth of equipment. In fact, it's over 2 million credits worth of equipment on a tank. So when you're buying your tanks, yeah, okay, I need 6.1 million for a tier 10 heavy. Do you really need 6.1 million, or do you need near a 9 million? You have to think about these things. Anyway, that's my view on heavy tanks. I know it's a little bit off from what I normally do on the videos. There's not been much gameplay. It's more about me just talking to you about these tanks. If you like it, please let me know in the comments below, and I'm happy to do the other classes of vehicle, and hopefully it'll help you out. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video, and that's it for the uploads today as well. Hopefully you've enjoyed the 3 videos I've provided for you today, and I'll see you all on the battlefield. As a back note as well, I just want to apologise for the lack of live streams this week. It's been a little bit busy for me outside in real life at work, so I've been using the game to try and de-stress from quite a lot of ongoings in the office. But hopefully I'll be back live streaming very soon for you. Hopefully the start of the Wargaming League for the World Cup, you'll see me there. Because I do have a new tank that I'm trying to ace to do a review on for you that's just been put out today, and I think you all know which one that is. So anyway, cheers guys, I'll see you later.